Okay guys, today I'm just going to be breaking down the Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua face-off. Just going to do a bit of an analysis, have a little look at the body language and what the guys are potentially saying to each other. Can't really work out too much, but there are some subtle signs here, and I'm just going to give you my take just based off my combat sports knowledge over the past couple of years. Just going to give you my take on what I think, and I can't really say who's going to win. I'm not going to do a prediction in this video, but I'll just give you my take on what I'm actually seeing and what I feel.
Wilder, sitting here.
Yeah, that was my route.
I saw that.
Yeah, to stick in boxing. They spoke about this fight before, and I said, nah, it's a gimmick fight. It's not something that I think is right. Crossing over when I'm still chasing heavyweight glory, you know? And then I think when they saw what happened with his last fight, the situation with Wilder, this opportunity presented itself. But I never turned down a challenge, and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, just by what I just seen there in the first few seconds, it looks like to me, Joshua obviously told Francis Ngannou straight to his face. He called the fight a gimmick fight, which I think Ngannou put a post up on his Instagram. It wasn't too long ago. He put a post up saying that Joshua himself, calling him a gimmick fight. And then I think there was just like a meme of a baby crying saying that's bullshit. And so Ngannou is definitely aware that Joshua has called it a gimmick fight. And obviously after the fight that Ngannou had with Tyson Fury, a lot of people wrote him off. A lot of people said Fury is going to be too good for Ngannou. Ngannou is an MMA fighter. No one saw him fight. But the thing that I feel that people do not understand is I think heavyweight dynamics are much, much different to the smaller weight classes. I think these guys that come in at these big heavyweights, when they hit you, it doesn't matter if you've got power, you will go down. So my personal belief is anyway, and this is a side topic, that the heavyweight power, it goes over into the power from the heavyweights, even if it's MMA or boxing, it translates much better in the heavyweight division. The smaller divisions, I know we saw McGregor versus Mayweather, and of course that was a one-sided shutdown. But with these lower class fighters, I don't think it works. I personally think, yes, it does depend on the fighter, but I do feel that heavyweight boxers, they have even in MMA, if you take a top heavyweight, so for example, you got fighters like Tom Aspinall out there in the UFC. He's an upcomer, well, he's a champion now, he's the interim champion. I'm pretty sure you put him in a boxing match with the top 10 boxers, he would do well. I'm not saying he'd be the best, but I think he would do well. Give him the top 15, somewhere at the bottom, I think he'd beat him. Top 10, he may need a little bit more training, because obviously he does all the disciplines. But I do feel that the top people in the heavyweight MMA, especially if they're more stand-up based, like Ngannou, he is a stand-up fighter, and his main thing is knocking people out. It does translate over into boxing, but it is interesting what Joshua is saying here.
You called it a gimmick fight then. Is it still that? I mean, this is now you taking on Francis Ngannou as opposed to Tyson Fury when he did. Is it still a gimmick fight?
No, it's the biggest challenge of my life.
It's the gimmick fight. Fight is a gimmick. Overall, I think it's very funny because
I like what happened there, because Joshua got asked, is it a gimmick fight now? And obviously because he's seen the Fury fight, he knows how Ngannou is. He's no longer a gimmick fight. He's actually taking it very, very seriously, which on one side it's a good thing. If Joshua's taking Ngannou serious, then what more can you ask for? Do you know what I'm saying? I think when Fury fought, he didn't take him serious. I'm not saying that Fury didn't train. I think Fury did train. People say Fury didn't train. I think he might have took him lightly. He might have took him as it's going to be a walk in the park, like Schwartz or some other low class fighter that Fury usually fights. He probably thought, look, I know how it's going to be. He's not going to be used to it. But he was in for a rude awakening, because Francis Ngannou, I watch a lot of UFC myself. To be honest, I'm more of a MMA guy than a boxing guy, but I do always stay up to date with the heavyweight division. I do watch a few of the lower weight class divisions, but mainly I'm into UFC personally. But you can't underestimate this Ngannou. You cannot underestimate this Ngannou guy. He's an animal. the way he came up even in the UFC, the guy's an animal. He literally came into the UFC. I think he started late as it is. He wanted to do boxing when he came into the UFC, and he wanted to do boxing, but he done well because he got to the top quite well, not quickly. Well, he was knocking a lot of people out, and he ran into a hurdle, which was obviously Stipe Miocic, which he didn't have the wrestling experience to beat him. But after he lost to Stipe Miocic, I think that was the best thing that ever happened to Francis Ngannou, because he went back and he sorted all those errors out, and then he came back and then he wiped the division out all the way back again till he got that title shot, and then he just demolished Stipe, and then he took out Cyril Gane. That was a good fight. I reckon he probably would have... Him and John Jones would have been a very good fight. I don't know who would have won that. I know Jones is at the end of his career, but even John Jones, it was feared by Francis Ngannou. He's a scary guy. He's a scary guy for multiple reasons. I'll talk about that later on in the video.
You're a boxer now.
Yeah, it's my second fight, my second pro fight.
Yeah.
And then I'm taking on the
way he just done that, where he pointed, he said, "This is my second pro fight." It's like a baby, like an innocent guy. Like, don't forget, this guy's from Africa. This guy came from Cameroon, and the guy, I've watched his Joe Rogan podcast. I'm not exactly sure how many times, but I'm pretty sure it was about 40 times. He had to try 20 to 40 times. He had to try to go in a little boat. It's a little paddling boat, and he had to travel through the sea. He had to run through the whole desert, the jungle. The guy did a trek all over Europe just to get to Europe. He got captured many times. He had to go back to the start. The guy never gave up. The guy is made out of something else. He's just built different. When you go through something like that in your life, personally, the people that live here in Europe, they don't understand. They won't understand it. But the guy is an animal. He was, the way he's come up, it's like an animal.
My two first boxing match, I'm taking the top one, the top two of the top three heavyweight boxer in the generation. So quite interesting.
You're going
right?
in at the deep end.
Huh?
You're going in at the deep end.
Yes.
So yeah, Francis just saying straight up, he went straight into boxing. He took on Tyson Fury. Let's be honest, he beat Tyson Fury. I don't care if the judges say he never. We all know Francis Ngannou won that fight. Now I know there's boxing pundits and all this out there. No, he lost. If you look at Fury, did actually get up. Nah, they're just trying to save Fury's face and save boxing's face. Let's be honest, Ngannou should have won that fight. If at worst it should have been a draw, but that still would have been a robbery in my eyes. That's just my opinion. Ngannou won that fight. Most people know he won that fight, and that's why Joshua's gonna fight him now, because if he lost that fight, then why would Joshua fight him? Everyone knows Ngannou won that fight. So yeah, not much more to say, but this is his second boxing fight. Think about it. He's come from UFC. He's never had a professional boxing fight, and now he's taking on Joshua. And I'll give him a shot. I'll give him a good shot, to be honest.
Now you've crossed over.
I'm a boxer now.
You certainly are. After a really good performance against Tyson Fury, what did you make of that performance? Surprised?
No, not at all. I researched Ngannou and I watched Tyson Fury box a number of times.
So Joshua, well, one thing I'll say about Joshua is Joshua says here he's researched Ngannou. I've done a lot of research on Joshua in my personal time. I do like his mindset. I do understand the way his mind works. He's a methodical fighter. He likes to break people down. He's not a guy that's gonna just go into a fight. He studies people. I follow the guy on Snapchat, and he's always posting stuff, like he's posting about documentaries, motivational stuff. I've done a lot of research into the guy. He lives a disciplined lifestyle. I do like the way he lives his life. Now, I'm pretty sure he's done his homework on Francis Ngannou. Even before Francis Ngannou started boxing, Joshua's always liked Francis Ngannou. He follows him on Instagram. He's talked about him before. He's put posts about Francis Ngannou before, about when he went to Africa and he brought the belts back. Obviously, he is his African brother at the end of the day, of the soil, so to speak. Obviously, when they fight, they're gonna go to war. But Joshua studies his opponents, and that's one thing I do like about it. But at the same time, there are drawbacks of this as well. But let's just carry on hearing what Joshua's got to say.
people claim he's the greatest of many, many generations, but I think if I box Tyson Fury, a lot of similarities will happen in the fight. So I'm not surprised at all in terms of his style, who Fury is. It's just a boxing match. Well done to both of them. They put on an entertaining fight. But that's in the past. That's how boxing is. And we move forward now.
So he just obviously gave his take on what he thought about Francis Ngannou's opponent. And as I said, Joshua does research his opponents. From what he's saying, he goes, he's not really, I'm not saying he's not impressed, but he's what he's saying is it's not something he wasn't unexpected. Joshua doesn't believe Fury's as good as Fury is, which again, there is an argument there. Fury's resume, his best fighters he's fought is Wilder and probably Klitschko, let's be honest. And a lot of people say Wilder was actually not as good as a fighter as he is now. Don't get me wrong, he's got probably the most power, best knockout artist in that division. But a lot of people say that Wilder wasn't really all that he's set out to be. Like his last performance against Joseph Parker shut him down. And if he can't land that right hand on you, he'll lose the fight. We've seen that multiple times. Luis Ortiz in both fights. Jermaine Stavane, he's had fights where he's just losing the whole fight and then he just connects with one hand. Now, when I was watching the Joseph Parker fight, I was like, hang on, when's he going to land that right hand? Okay, what about if he doesn't land that right hand? And he didn't land it and he lost the fight and he's all right with losing. Obviously, he's had his ayahuasca transformation and his mind's in a different place and stuff now. But personally, I'm not saying I don't rate Wilder. I don't think he's all that he set out to be. Now, Joshua, I think personally he has got the best resume out of all the heavyweights out there now. Yes, he's lost to Usyk. Yes, he lost to Ruiz. He did avenge his loss to Ruiz. He came back. He changed his style. Usyk, I'll be honest, I don't think Joshua went into that fight with the right approach. He came in and tried to outbox Usyk. Joshua's not going to outbox Usyk. There's no way he's going to do that. He had to keep his old style, the seek and destroy style. That was his best shot to beat Usyk. If he came into that fight the same way he came into the fight with Ruiz and he just let combinations go, now he might gas. He may lose his gas tank. Same way with the Klitschko fight. If he came in that sort of way, I think he could go through Usyk, but the problem was he got affected mentally. When you lose a fight like that, it affects you mentally, and the mental aspect of fighting is very important. It's 90% of fighting is mental. If your mental side is not there, then good luck. Like you're not gonna do well. I think 90 or 95% is mental. 90% probably 10% physical. You can see that because recently Joshua's been doing a lot of these dark retreats as well. He's been going to these dark retreats. In 2023 he went to a dark retreat, stayed there for 4 days. I've done some research into that as well. You know, that dark retreat stuff, if you do it is actually good, to be honest. In this day and age, like a lot of mental health problems, people just get affected badly just by whatever, social media or whatnot. There's a lot of mental health problems these days. So Joshua obviously does have a sports psychologist, I'm pretty sure, and I'm not sure who advised him about the dark room retreat. I'm not sure who advised him about the dark room retreat, but Joshua, he is doing stuff behind closed doors that people don't know too much about. But I do research into Joshua. Like as I said, the fight is always 90% mental. Now people laugh at that. People laugh when they say, "Oh, Joshua, he's mentally mashed, man. He's not the same." I think people are a bit too hard on Joshua, to be honest. I like Joshua. I think he can do well. Like I think he can get far. I just think people give him a hard time. I've noticed a lot of people have hate for Joshua for some reason. Is it because the guy looks like an animal? Let's be honest. He's built like a truck. The guy's built, but he's lost a fight a few times, and he's shown sign of this mental I wouldn't say mental issues, but you could say that at the same time. But look at Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury suffered in mental health. He nearly committed suicide. Like no one takes the piss out of him. Like people, he's always giving his sub story about it. I think with Joshua, people just give him a hard time. Like people say he's trying to act like a roadman, but but really, let's be honest, Joshua is he's a role model, man. Like people need to get behind Joshua. Like he's not a bad guy. He's probably the most, out of all the heavyweights, he's probably the most respectful, down-to-earth person out of all of them, in my opinion. He's a humble guy. Like Joshua is not the type of guy to say anything bad about you or start anything. But if someone gives him trouble, then he'll answer him. Now, with this fight with Francis Ngannou, it's a whole different story, because Francis Ngannou is probably more humbler than Joshua in different ways. And you'll see in here later on, Joshua is struggling to work out Francis Ngannou's mind. Francis Ngannou's mind is not going to be an easy mind to conquer. All these other opponents, Joshua's opponents, they come at him with aggression, or they try to intimidate Joshua. Now, when they do that, Joshua usually kills them in the fight. Otto Wallin, who was giving it a little bit large in the last fight, Joshua told him, I'm going to fuck you up, and he did. Now, notice how in this fight, Ngannou does not show any signs of that. Ngannou is a dangerous man. The guy is dangerous. Remember, the loudest guy in the room is often the weakest in the room. Ngannou looks like he's an introvert, but the guy is built like a monster. I would class Ngannou as a gentle giant, much bigger than AJ. Just look at it right now. Obviously, he's wearing some clothes, but I think AJ weighs about 250, Ngannou is about 270. And Ngannou probably can walk around 270 to 300 pounds. If Joshua bulked and he got to his biggest size, he'll probably be about 260, 265. That's like 2 stone difference. That's not a joke. And even if you look at their heads, man, if you look at Ngannou's head, it looks like it's been made out of a bloody cylinder. If you look at Joshua's head, it just looks like a normal head. Now, I've even analysed the geezer's head. The guy's head is made out of something else. It's made out of bricks. Like, you don't come from Africa. You don't go through the stuff you go through. You don't work in a sand mine at 9 years old, and it develops you differently. And it's just those genetics, those African genetics, where he's lived that life at the same time. You can't buy that. You can't get that from anywhere. You can't go to a lab. You can't go. It's put it like this: Joshua trains. He probably does his workouts, gym training, all his sports training, and yeah, he's developed a good physique. He's got the power, but I don't think Joshua naturally has that. Naturally, you have to work on it to have it. Whereas I personally think Francis Ngannou naturally got that power. He doesn't go. If Ngannou didn't lift weights, he still wouldn't be a big guy. Do you know what I'm saying? If Joshua didn't lift weights, I think Joshua's naturally a skinny guy. He's bulked up. That's my personal opinion. But yeah, so let's carry on.
Where is he as a boxer? I mean, again, we saw that first fight against Tyson Fury. It was his first fight. Anything could happen. No one knew what was going to happen. He's ranked with the WBC now.
He's always wanted to be a boxer. He's good. UFC champion. You know what it is?
But not a boxer.
But there's a lot of stand-up game. And in his industry, people have takedown, submission, stand-up, better at kicking. So when he fights, he's fighting people that have aspects that are good in every category. So he might fight someone who's better than him in stand-up. So I've watched people that he boxes that are good at stand-up and how he's dealt with people at their stand-up game. He knows how to box. He's not, in terms of training, you probably do more rounds in boxing and fair enough than in the fight, but he knows how to box, he knows his way around. The only difference is one's a cage and one's a ring.
I feel like you're getting a lot of credit now from people.
Okay, so Joshua said a lot there. So as I said, Joshua researches his opponents. Joshua's not the type of guy to just fight an opponent and not know nothing about him. Joshua has analysed Francis Ngannou to the T now. Joshua's also brought Ben Davidson into his camp. Ben Davidson is a sly bastard. Ben Davidson is a sly guy. I'm just going to say to you, sly, not in a bad way, I mean in a good way. That guy there has given Joshua the secrets of life. That guy there has given Joshua secrets on how to become the old Joshua. If you notice, Joshua in 2023, Joshua had 3 fights. He had a fight against Jermaine Franklin, after Dillian White, which when he wasn't with Ben Davison at this point, he was with Derek James. Now Derek James was a coach, obviously he's based in Texas, and this coach, yes, he probably learned stuff off Derek James. He had the fundamentals in that fight. His jab was working well, his basics, the foot movement was there, the angles he was cutting were good. It was there. To be honest, he pieced Jermaine Franklin up. Now, he didn't finish him, but personally, I think it was a good performance. Jermaine Franklin had a fight with Dillian White. It was a close fight. It was a good fight. I think that was a good fight for Joshua. He clearly won that. But yeah, it was a good fight. He got to showcase his skills. And then he still was with Derek James, and then obviously he fought Hellenius. That was I think it was, I know his first fight was April. I think second fight was somewhere August or something like that. I'm not too sure. And then his last fight was December. But yeah, when he fought Hellenius, he was still with Derek James. Now he did knock out Hellenius, but it looked like it was like a forced knockout. Like it came at the end. Eventually, it came out. And from what I'm seeing personally, this is just my view. Joshua got affected mentally bad when he lost to Usyk. No, let me take that back. He got affected when he lost to Ruiz. But when he came back and he beat Ruiz and he changed his style, he personally thought he could be a boxer. Now, don't get me wrong, he can box a lot. He can box a lot of these heavyweights. But when it comes to the elite Tyson Furies, your Usyks, certain people you just can't box. You gotta go in there as what you're known for, which Joshua is known to knock people out and be a wrecking machine. Let's be honest, Mike Tyson was a knockout artist. Joshua is a knockout artist. He is not built to box. Now, don't get me wrong, the sweet science of boxing is about hitting and not moving, but yes, Joshua can implement that into his style, and he has, and his boxing has gone a lot better, but he needs to realize he's a knockout artist. And this is heavyweight boxing. Now, when you do get knocked out, it psychologically affects you, so you don't really want to get into those slugfests. Because look, people say Joshua's got a weak chin, he can't take a shot, he's been knocked out. Look, I'll be honest, I don't believe that. But I do believe it can affect you mentally if you let it. Like, Fury gets knocked down loads of times. Joshua has not got knocked. He's got knocked down probably. I think he's got knocked down once in the not Dillian White fight. He got knocked down in the Andy Ruiz fight. He's got knocked down in the Klitschko fight. And that's it. He's only really been knocked down like in those two fights. Yeah, he's got knocked down multiple times in the Ruiz fight. And by Klitschko, no one else has knocked Joshua down. If I'm forgetting someone, please mention it, because I might be forgetting someone, but I don't think so. So no one else has knocked Joshua down now. He's been wobbled. Yes, he's been wobbled by Dillian White. He's probably been hurt a little bit by Povetkin. There was an uppercut in there. But he recovers. Like, if you got a bad chin, when they hit your chin, you don't get up. You don't recover. A good guy, as an example, is Amir Khan. He got hit towards the end of his career. When your chin's gone, it's gone. People keep saying Joshua's got no chin. I don't believe that. I'm not saying he's the most durable. I'm not. Okay, people say he quit in that Ruiz fight. But let's be honest, Joshua did just stand back up. Joshua wanted to continue. Now, the referee stopped it. I'm not saying that was the wrong decision. No, I'm not saying it's the wrong decision. But Joshua showed signs that he wanted to continue. Yes, he stood on the ropes. He stood a bit back. But did Joshua stay on the floor and not get up? No, he got up. People are just too much on Joshua's case, in my opinion, man. But I'm losing my train of thought, so I'm going to continue the video. But yeah,
saying you know how to box, I don't think you would have got that credit before the Fury fight.
Yeah, but also you also have to understand that people will not believe in what they haven't seen. Like, you just come around with this guy that has a 0-0-0 on his boxing record, and you're telling people that he can box, and nobody have ever seen him in the amateur boxing match or in the Olympics or any type of boxing competition. So it's hard for people to believe, that he can fight. People goes more about statistics, which sometimes which get them wrong most of the time. I always say, like, if I walk in the bar, I get in the bar, I see a guy who never been in the gym in his entire life. He's coming after me violently. I step back because it's a fight. You don't know what's going to happen, And somebody will go there and then just his determination, throw some punch, and if he catch you, he catches you. You go down. It doesn't matter if you're a boxer or not. So you better be careful, right? And then we get to the moment that...
This is actually crazy. I don't think a lot of people have spotted this now. I do look into a lot of psychology, a lot of philosophy as well. When Ngannou just basically said to AJ in this video here, in this segment here, what Ngannou just said to AJ is psychology 101. It's got probably a bit of reverse psychology in there as well. we all know Tyson Fury likes to play mind games on people. He likes to get in people's heads. The way he does that is he tells you, I'm fat. I'm a boxer. I'm fat. I'm out of shape. You can beat me and blah blah blah. Like he said, Tyson Fury gets into people's heads because Tyson Fury just tells people as it is. I'm a fat guy. I'm no one. And when he tried to do that with Francis Ngannou, it didn't work with Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou didn't buy it. Sometimes fighters buy it. Klitschko brought that Tyson Fury is a fat guy, this, that, and he lost. He got his jab knotted off. Tyson Fury understands the mental game. Now here, very subtly, Ngannou has just given an analogy to Anthony Joshua. The analogy he gave is about a guy who goes into a bar. If he just said, a guy who goes into a bar, Francis Ngannou, yeah, the guy is 6'4", 6'5", 270 pounds, yeah, huge, big guy, could probably take on most people. He just said in front of Joshua, if I go into a bar and a guy who's never walked into a gym in his life and he's coming at Francis Ngannou ferociously, swinging or whatever, Francis Ngannou's not going to go for that guy. Francis Ngannou's going to step back. That's what he just said. He goes, I'm going to step back even though I'm a big guy, because all it takes is one punch and you will get knocked out. Now he just said that to AJ. He just said that to Joshua right now. If you don't understand this, then you don't get it. He's planted a seed here in Joshua's head very subtly that he talked about his record. It's 0-0-0, but don't underestimate him. If you underestimate someone, they will take your head off. Now, again, I'm not saying Joshua is not understanding it, but this probably sends some sort of shivers down Joshua's spine, because if a big guy like this is telling you, I would step back, that's not normal. That's someone who is a dangerous guy. Look, Francis Ngannou is probably the most dangerous heavyweight out there in terms of power. Not just because of that, his mindset is just different to most heavyweights. He came up in a different way. Look, I've watched a lot of face-offs. I've watched Dillian White have a face-off with Joshua. And Dillian White, this was back in 2015, kept saying to Joshua, you're a big bodybuilder. He goes, if both of us are left in the room, I guarantee you I'll walk out. He was giving it large. He was talking a lot. He was trying to intimidate Joshua, calling him names, this, that. I knocked you out in the amateurs. Now notice how Ngannou is showing the complete opposite. He's not really saying to Joshua anything bad. He's just being honest, and people like that are dangerous. As I said, the loudest guy in the room often is the weakest, but the quietest, the humble, the timbo guys, they are dangerous. And look, Francis Ngannou is huge. He's bigger than Joshua, but he's still a humble guy. That's what makes this guy dangerous. This guy is a threat. It's a severe threat to Joshua, very severe.
I have deal with high level competition and then all those experience, and then people were still like, nah, he can't do shit, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Unless we get there that day and find out, I'm not going to explain. You don't explain those stuff. You do, and then people see, and then you just make sure you do good, not get embarrassed, don't disappoint people, or don't make them right. You get excited to prove them wrong.
And you proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah, and as he just said there, he's literally doing the opposite of what other fighters do. Look, Joshua is staring at Francis Ngannou, and he's not saying much because Joshua doesn't just study the fighter. Joshua likes to study the fighter's mind. Joshua's trying to work the guy out analytically as much as he can. This guy is a humble guy. He's from Africa. He works hard. He's come out the sand mines. He had to work hard to get out of there. This guy's mind is different to the fighters he usually fights. Joshua's used to people calling him out, intimidating him, and the worst thing is, the people Joshua does struggle against the most are the nice guys. Let me name them for you. When Joshua fights someone that is a nice guy, that shows him respect, Joshua struggles. But when the guy calls Joshua out, calls Joshua names, or gives a bit of trash talk, Joshua annihilates them. I can just name you a few right now off my top of my head. You had Otto Wallen in the last fight. He was actually giving it large to Joshua. Joshua actually said to him, I'm going to fuck you up in the ring. and he did get fucked up. You had Pulev before that. Pulev was giving it large before the fight. He was trying to act like the alpha male. He tried to do this, that, tried to push Joshua, this, that. Joshua, in the fight, there's a lot of pushing and stuff, but Joshua knocked him out at the end of it. He put him down multiple times, hit him with that uppercut, and yeah, he got him out of there. Dillian White is another example. He talked a lot of crap, battered him. Brazil talked a lot of crap, battered him. I'm just going back into the career. The people that have talked bad and said bad things about Joshua, he has actually annihilated them. Now, the people that talk good and respectful, I can't name them all of them. I'm just going to think about the top people from my head. Look, Klitschko. Klitschko was respectful and he gave Joshua a lot of credit. He struggled with Klitschko. Yes, he won, but Klitschko dropped him and Klitschko hurt him in that fight. Joshua won that fight, but remember, Klitschko was at the end of his career. He was 42 or something, 41, 42 at that time. Can't remember exactly, but he was at the end of his career. If he was younger, he probably could have beaten Joshua at that time, but yeah. And then we go to Andy Ruiz Jr., the nicest guy you could probably see ever. Andy Ruiz Jr., the guy is like, I forgot his name, man. There's a Disney film, I'll put a photo up, a Disney film in Pixar, Up. He reminds me of that little fat kid in Up. Like, he's an innocent, jolly guy, but Andy Ruiz is a nice guy. Like, don't get me wrong, in terms of technique and his punches and stuff, Andy Ruiz is an animal. And yeah, he was a nice guy, and he beat Joshua in the first fight because Joshua underestimated him. And yeah, well, he did underestimate him. He started swinging, and Ruiz pulled his swings out. And yeah, when it connected Joshua, he stumbled and lost. Now the next guy, Usyk. Usyk is a respectful guy. Usyk obviously is the most skilled, but he's respectful. And Usyk said he'd been training for Joshua for years. He's been studying Joshua for years. He's also been studying Fury as well. He studied both these guys. I'll make another video on that another day. But Usyk has sat in his room. I'll put a photo up if I can find it. Usyk sat down in a room. Not in a room, sorry. He probably has got photos of Joshua on his wall. He's probably got photos of Fury on his wall. But there was a fight where Usyk is in the ring. He's in the crowd. Usyk's in the crowd at one of Joshua's fight, and this is like 2015, 2014, and he's just got a hoodie on, and you wouldn't even tell that is Usyk. He's sitting there and he's just watching Joshua. He's just like staring him down. Joshua didn't even notice he's in the crowd, but this guy's been studying Joshua. He worked the same way Joshua likes to research people. Usyk was researching him in the shadows. Usyk has researched Fury. I think Usyk can beat Fury, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, I'm getting off topic here. Honestly forgot what I was saying because I've gone off topic so much, but there's a lot to talk about. But yeah, so I'm gonna continue because I've gone on a tangent. But yeah.
Again, this was supposed to be Deontay Wilder. There are other names mentioned, if not Wilder. Philip Hrgovic for that number one IBF spot. There would have been other names as well. Zhili Zhang potentially. Maybe even a rematch against Joseph Parker, the man who beat Deontay Wilder. Why Ngannou?
I wanted to fight for the championship. I wanted to lead my career towards the championship. So, but this is still leading me towards the championship, though. He's a boxer, so I have to win. And when I win, I'll move on to fighting for the championship. That's boxing, snakes and ladders. You win, you go up. You lose, you slide down. So I have to win in order to continue on where I projected in my mind to get to.
It's funny you say that. You win, you go up, you lose.
One thing I noticed, I'll talk about it a bit more after. Joshua's got a mindset where he has to win, and yeah, he has won his last 3 fights, which is good. It's a championship mindset. Now, winning and losing in boxing, in terms of psychology and just in life, losing doesn't mean you're a bad fighter. I think a lot of these fighters out here are scared to lose. Like Fury's never lost, Usyk's never lost. Some fighters can't handle losses. Now, Joshua struggled to handle the second loss to Usyk badly, but he's obviously worked on himself. I've seen him say in recent interviews that winning and losing is part of the game. Look, the best heavyweight fighters out there, you got Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, all these fighters back in the day, they lost at the end, but they're the greats. The people that lose and come back, they're better than the guys who never lose, in my opinion. I know Floyd Mayweather's got that 50-0 record, but yeah, he might be the best technical boxer out there, but I don't know. I can't say I don't rate Floyd because he's probably got the best boxing out there, but I'm talking more about heavyweights. It's just people need to get rid of that stigma of an unbeaten record, because even if you lose, it's what you do after. Even look at Lennox Lewis. All these top heavyweights have lost. They've come back and they've regained the belts. That's the sign of a true champion. Joshua's lost. He's going to take his last run. I reckon he could potentially become undisputed again. And I do want him to hopefully get there, but we'll see. Obviously, there's people like Usyk out there, is an animal. And you got Fury still there, but obviously that fight's delayed at the moment. We know the reason, but we don't know the cut and all that. But so yeah, I keep going off tangent, man.
Ngannou on the books lost against Tyson Fury. Arguably, he's gone back up. So it works in different ways, right?
But what would happen if he won?
A rematch potentially against Tyson Fury, maybe. This
Fight and Alexander Usyk?
potentially.
But
could have
undisputed, so you're always going to go up if you win.
happened. Always, indeed.
But there's always big opportunities. This is another great opportunity for both of us.
Yeah, so even looking here, Francis Ngannou, while Joshua is talking about winning and losing, what happens in boxing if you win and lose. If you win, you go up. If you lose, you go down. He's right. He's not wrong in what he's saying. However, just by looking at Francis Ngannou's body language, the guy's playing with his nails, and he's like a child in a room playing with his nails. He's not concerned about winning or losing. That's not his mindset. You'll hear what he says. He is acting right now as a guy who doesn't care about winning or losing. That's a dangerous fighter. He even talks about he said obviously on the books he lost the fight, but he won. He won because everyone knows he won that fight. Everyone knows Francis Ngannou won his fight against Fury. Everyone knows that. It's not even a question. So that's why he's fighting Anthony Joshua. He's not interested in the bouts, this, that. Like, he wants big fights, but what I'm trying to say is his mindset is different to these like heavyweight fighters. With these heavyweight fighters, they actually put some weight on losing. Now, if Joshua loses to Francis Ngannou, there's people out there like Johnny Nelson just saying, look, all your credibility will be gone if you lose to Francis Ngannou. But let's be honest. If Tyson Fury's lost to Francis Ngannou, yes, I don't care if it says on the books he hasn't. He lost. Everyone knows he lost to him. So if Joshua loses to Francis Ngannou, then both of them have lost to Francis Ngannou. That's nothing to hold you. Well, if you both lose to him, then that shows that this guy is actually something special. And I'm not saying it will happen, but I think people just put way too much pressure on like the fighter's head to say, like, if you lose, all your credibility is gone. Then Tyson Fury's credibility is gone as it is. So I don't think Joshua should have that pressure on himself. He should just go in there, and as he says, he's going to do his best, which I can understand his mindset and why he's saying that, because if you go into a fight, say, I have to win, you can lose a fight like that. If you go in the fight and say, look, I've done all the training I can do, I can only go in there and give my best, then you don't really look to the outcome of the fight. If you've done everything you're supposed to be doing, then you should win. And if you don't win and you've done everything, then you shouldn't worry. That's the best mindset. Now, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do and you lose, that's a different story. But yeah.
Did you ever consider not taking this fight when this fight was offered to you? Was it a straight yes?
I called up.
You asked for the fight?
I asked for this fight. I watched him fight, and then I made it.
The way he just said, I called. It's like a guy who's been studying someone. When someone knows something about someone and they see an opportunity or a weakness, he just done a Usyk there. He done a Usyk studying Joshua for 10 years kind of thing. He said, I asked for the fight. I made a tweet. When Wilder weren't fighting, he made a tweet to say, I want to fight Joshua. He's the one who called Turkey to say, let me fight Joshua. And that made sense. He took the opportunity and they said, yeah, let's make it. So you don't take a fight for no reason. You have to have some sort of belief that you can win. And Francis Ngannou can win, but we'll have to see.
Well, because there was an opportunity. I know that he was going to fight Deontay Wilder, and I saw an opportunity there. I made a tweet taking for this fight. I was calling for that fight. I was ready and like, this seems like an opportunity that I can slide in. Again, this is my second boxing match, and I'm fighting one of the best, one of the top 3.
just how he reiterates it's his second boxing match now. He's just subtly taking shots at Joshua. Francis Ngannou is from Africa, but the guy is not stupid. He's actually very intelligent. People think he's dumb. The guy's probably made the best business move probably one of the best business moves in combat sports in recent days, in my opinion. The guy left the UFC. He was a champion in the UFC. He was getting paid, I don't know, probably 200, 300, 500k a fight. Obviously, they offered him quite a lot for the John Jones fight, but he didn't get in his contract that he could do other stuff. He wanted to do boxing. He wanted to have other stuff in his contract. They didn't come to agreement. Him and Dana White and everyone had a dispute. He leaves the UFC as the champion, a guy who's come from Africa as a champion. Anyone would say, are you crazy? Why would you leave the UFC? But he wasn't happy with what they were offering him because he knew his worth. And he took the risk. He went into boxing and he dropped Fury. Now he's fighting AJ. A guy like this, you could say it's a Rocky Balboa story. And now he's getting paid 20 million, 10 million for a fight. That's more than his whole UFC career. He made more in the Fury fight than his whole career in the UFC. Dana White is crying. He should have kept this guy. Dana White should have worked with this guy and made the boxing fights happen, because right now the UFC could have been killing it with this guy as their champion, and UFC promoting these boxing fights and being part of it as well. Somehow it would have just brought their brand higher, but they're idiots. They didn't want to pay this guy what he's worth. They didn't see that, and now he's gone his own route, and the universe has said, Francis, you're getting 20 mil, you're getting 10 mil. The universe works in mad ways. Sometimes it works in mad ways, but I'm happy for Francis for that, you know.
I didn't want another top 3, so in 2 match fight in boxing, I'm going to fight potentially the best in the world. And then something that I disagree with him, boxing environment that has said things like that, make people think like that. I think like when you have a good fight and then you had you fight well, that doesn't necessarily, even if you lose, that doesn't necessarily take you down as you think, you know. Like I'm coming out of a loss. Supposedly we can argue, debate about that, but I'm coming out of a loss, but I still have an opportunity, right? Because I'm not viewing myself as I depend on the win. I see myself as I depend on the fight. What's gonna happen? Yes, of course I want to win, but I can win without really fighting.
So I love what Francis is saying here. Look, man, Joshua's worked on all these darkroom retreats and everything, and it's helped his mind, and it's all good, and he should continue doing that. That stuff's good. I like stuff like that. I like hearing about stuff like that. But the real dark room here is Francis Ngannou. The guy's lived his life in the dark room. You don't work in a sand mine for 9 years, digging up sand, and not have not build something internally. Francis Ngannou's mindset is perfect for this fight. He's not coming in there thinking, he's not coming in the fight saying, I've got to beat Joshua so I can become undisputed. He's almost coming in there, it's like he's not really too concerned about the belts and everything. But a guy like that is very dangerous because he's free, he's loose, he's nimble, he's not worried, he's not tied up, he doesn't need to pay sanction fees, he doesn't want to be involved in any of that, he doesn't want to, he just wants to fight big names, and that's why he's dangerous. He's not coming in there like your normal boxing contender. It's not that he's just coming from MMA, he's an MMA fighter. No. You're not just dealing with a guy who's from a different sport. Now, don't get me wrong, MMA fighters, they can be unorthodox. They have different skills. Like, he threw a Superman punch in the boxing match against Fury, and he nearly, if that connected, he would have took Fury's head off. But even Fury was shocked. But I'm not even talking about that aspect. I'm talking about the mindset aspect. And that is like I said, man, fights are 90% psychological, 10% physical, and Francis Ngannou's mindset here is bang on the money. The guy's literally said to Joshua's face that this guy is fighting for belts. Unlike him, I don't care about belts. Joshua's literally said, when you win, you go up the ladder. When you lose, you go down the ladder. Francis Ngannou goes, no, I don't think if you lose a fight, it should make you go down. It's about your performance in the fight. The real fighters know, the real people know if you won a fight or lost. It's like this, you can win a fight off the jab. Like Joshua's won his fight against Helenius, he went against Franklin. On paper, he won those fights. No one really talks about him though, because people say they're boring fights. They're not technical, but when you see Francis Ngannou, he dropped Fury. A lot of people were talking more about that than Fury technically winning with the points and whatever. So Ngannou's got the correct mindset for the position he's in. He's probably got the most perfect mindset, and that mindset is dangerous. Joshua's mindset is he's doing it for his legacy and everything. It's just like it's a battle of two different mindsets. Whose mindset's going to come out on top? A guy that's come from Africa, he's clawed his way from everything, and now he's got potential to become one of the baddest men on the planet. He's already the baddest man on the planet, to be honest, right now, if I'm in my opinion. Because if you took people in a room right now, if you took Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, I'm not going to put him in there because he's lost now, but let's just take these three people, and then you take Francis Ngannou and you take John Jones in the room. Now each person has to fight one-on-one with everyone. Who in a room? Now you can use any techniques and skills you have. Who do you think is going to come out of that? Personally, I think Francis Ngannou will come out, and I think John Jones would come out. But when them two fight, it'll probably be something different there, because MMA. I'm just going on to the side topic here now, but an MMA fighter, in my opinion, in a room, when all the rules can go. I'm talking about a real fight. Ngannou, if this was a real fight, Ngannou would kill Joshua. He would kill Joshua. He would take his legs out. He would take him down. He would wrestle him. He would kill Joshua, because it's a boxing fight and they have to use their stand-up skills. Joshua's obviously got a chance, but that's a different topic. So technically, as I said, he is the baddest man on the planet right now. But if he beats Joshua and then somehow he fights for undisputed, even if he doesn't beat Joshua, if he gives Joshua a very good fight, Francis' stock goes up. If Francis Ngannou's stock goes up just by having a good fight with Joshua, he doesn't even need to win. So that's why when Francis Ngannou says, I don't need to win to win, I've already won, he's right. And with that mindset, it's perfect. If he can implement this in the fight, in my opinion, if he's got this mindset, the fight's going to be a good fight. I don't think it's going to be a stalemate. It just depends what Joshua does. Joshua might stay back, but we'll have to see.
Really fighting that I'm looking for.
I really want fights.
Yes, I really want to fight. And when you fight, even when you lose, people want to see you back. And that's how the sport is, because like when two people go to fight, obviously one person gonna come out as a winner, and one person will win and one will lose. But they need a loser to make a winner, so you can. It takes two to tango.
Yeah,
right?
When the best fight the best, there is no defeat. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in my point of view, it's just having a good fight. Fight good. You know, I worry about how I'm gonna fight and all those stuff. And unlike him, I'm not here like focusing on like the championship, the title. I want some good fight. You know, test myself, take a challenge, and see what I can potentially do. I'm not. I'm aware of the situation. I'm not that young anymore. I still have a couple of years. I didn't have those opportunities earlier in my career, so now I'm trying to do what I can possibly do with the amount of time that I have. You know, have the best fight, enjoy all those stuff.
Like I just reiterated, he's literally told Joshua to his face. Now you can just tell by Joshua's face right now. It looks scared, and he shows this more. I'm just doing a little quick analysis of just how Francis Ngannou's face looks and Joshua's face looks. When someone's told you to your face, I'm not trying to do what you're trying to do. You're trying to get belts. You're trying to go up. You're trying to go down. You think winning means you're good. You mean losing means you're bad. Francis Ngannou goes, I don't give a shit about that. Having a good fight is what makes you good. If I go in the fight and I'm going to swing and I'm going to connect, I'm going to land a few shots on you, and they are big shots, people like that. People don't, let's be honest, in terms of entertainment, people don't like to see people putting the jab on you, staying back. People don't like that. I'm talking about entertainment. People want to see people get knocked out. People want to see a brawl. People want to pay their money to see a brawl. Let's be honest. Even I personally, I do appreciate the technical side of boxing, but in this fight, I want to see a brawl. I want to see Joshua swing it out. I want to see Francis Ngannou swing it out as well. Okay, I know they're not going to do that, but if it comes crunch time and these guys swing it out, look, man, I don't want to put a pick here, but if they swing it out, I think Francis Ngannou is not going to go down. And if he hits you, Joshua might go down. Now, I don't know. Joshua could hurt Francis Ngannou. People don't think they can. But from what I've seen from Francis Ngannou, he's never been hurt ever. Never seen it. Not saying Joshua can't hurt him. Not saying that. Joshua could knock him out. Joshua could knock Francis Ngannou out. It could happen. You can't write off Joshua. But what I'm trying to say is, what he's just said to Joshua now has psychologically got him. This is the thing that makes Joshua a little bit uneasy, because he's basically not disrespected him, but it psychologically fucked him a bit to say, yo, you're going after the belts, man. If you lose, you're gonna take it as raw. I lost to an MMA guy. People are gonna put all this stuff on you. Francis Ngannou is basically saying to Joshua, if I lose, it don't matter. People don't expect me to win anyway. Joshua's got pressure on his shoulders. Francis Ngannou is coming in free into the fight. Joshua's got that pressure of, let's be honest, Joshua can't lose this fight. I don't think Joshua thinks about losing. What Ngannou said to him is, I don't care if I lose. He's not said it directly. Obviously, he wants to win, but he's put that psychological seed in Joshua's head. Joshua's already dealing with a lot of psychological stuff. I'm not saying dealing with. He's worked on his psychology a lot, but this is a mental fuckery. And these little things, as I said, they play on your mind, and that's what makes and breaks a fighter, in my opinion.
Tyson Fury down, the world went crazy. I saw an interview you did recently where you said if you were to put AJ down with the same shot, you don't think AJ gets up.
Yeah, I have a doubt about that. Tyson showed that he's very resilient. I saw him come back from a knockdown that you wouldn't believe that somebody would come down. So I think he's probably one of the most resistant person out there, and that's not a disrespect to AJ. I don't believe that AJ would take what Tyson
You don't think AJ's resilient? You don't think AJ has a chin?
As much as Tyson.
Who hasn't knocked Tyson down? So many people have knocked Tyson down.
Even going to the fight, I knew that even if I knock him down, I would not get excited. That would not mean anything, because he always come back. So I have to prepare for a very endurance person. Psychologically, that's how I was.
The title of this fight.
What I just saw there was Francis Ngannou again, not on purpose, but just the way he is. He's literally taking shots at AJ, basically saying, he never said directly, you got a weak chin. He literally said to Joshua, in the nicest way you possibly can, look, if I hit you with that shot, which I don't even think that was his hardest shot, he was like 20 or 30% of his power, but he's literally said to Joshua, if I hit you with that 20 to 30% shot, you would not get up. Wow, he never said it directly like that. He said you would probably struggle to get up. He knew Fury is resilient, and he's told this to Joshua's face. Joshua didn't like it. I could tell by Joshua's reaction. Joshua just goes to him, who hasn't knocked down Fury? Which he's right. Joshua's right. Everyone does knock down Fury. A lot of people do knock down Fury. It's the point I was saying earlier. But my opinion here is Ngannou has literally said to Joshua that he's not saying your chin's weak, but he's basically saying, I don't think you're as durable as Fury. Now, there's two ways this can go, because if Ngannou's mindset is taking it as serious as like Joshua's chin's a joke, and he's not as strong as Fury chin-wise, I don't think he'll get up, I think I can take him out and he's going to be a walkover, then he might have to be careful. Because then that's where he could be making a mistake. Because as I said, Joshua's chin isn't as weak as people say it is. He actually gets up every time he's been knocked down. Yes, he got stopped by the referee once, but he got up multiple times. He kept getting up. Okay, referee stopped it, Ruiz fight, we get that. He got up from the Klitschko fight. So that could be a downfall of Francis Ngannou if he's banking on that. But at the same time, AJ didn't like that, so he gave that response of, who has a knockdown Fury? Like, you're on about my chin, but look how many times Fury's been knocked down, which is not wrong in what he's saying. He feels like a shot's being fired towards him. Now, again, that I can fully see why Joshua is saying that. I can fully see he's basically trying to prove a point to say that, yo, you think my chin's weak? Alright, safe. Like, he's saying, you think my chin's weak? Alright, but Fury's been knocked out this much. Like, it's like a chip on the shoulder. That's someone who's out there. They're gonna try to prove a point. Now, I don't think Francis is saying it directly in a way that he's trying to disrespect AJ, because he said, I don't mean it with disrespect, but he's still subtly taking that shot. So Francis Ngannou is tiptoeing around the psychology of Joshua, in my opinion. He's tiptoeing around.
You guys have seen it, right? It looks like old Street Fighter in terms of how they build it. Do you both expect to get a knockout here? Is that what both of you are built for, knockouts? You did it in the UFC for so many years. You've been doing it in boxing for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You knock people out. That's what you both do. Is that what we're expecting here?
That's what they want. We'll see.
What do you want?
We'll see.
I'm looking for, I mean...
You know what it is? People underestimate me a lot. People underestimate me, you know? But no, I'm not saying you, but people, innit?
It's not underestimating you. It's
your
like
opinion.
Knockout chaos. So,
but who has knocked me out like that? Like when I'm like this?
No, that is not what they mean. It's like we both are going to look for a knockout. Which I don't think is a problem, because I will try to go for trying to knock out. If I have an opportunity, I'll knock 100%. Out, and I think he will do the same thing. Yeah. So we'll make the knockout chaos.
So when they got asked about the knockout again, they always ask about the knockout. Joshua goes, we'll see in it what will happen in the fight, because again, Joshua's studied Francis Ngannou. Joshua's not stupid. Joshua's not going to just go into a fight and says, I'm going to knock you out. But I do say one thing. A lot of fights, when Joshua does get asked what's he going to do, I'm talking going back into his younger days, 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, when he has these gloves are off, he's facing these lower, I wouldn't say lower, like Dillian White. As he was upcoming, he would always say, I'm going to knock him out, because he had that confidence. Now, once he's lost, that confidence did get taken out of him. He doesn't say that a lot now, but with Otto Wallin, he was like, I'm going to take him out. He had more of a chip on his shoulder. With this fight here, one thing I do say about Joshua, he doesn't lie. He's always honest. And when Joshua says, we'll see what will happen in the fight, he's being honest. He's being honest with himself. Do you want Joshua to lie and say, yeah, I'm going to knock him out, when Joshua studied the guy and he's like, hang on, this guy's never been knocked out in his life. This guy's got built like a brick. He weighs more than me. I might not be able to knock this guy out. I might be throwing the kitchen sink at him and he might still be there coming at me like a fucking behemoth. What if this guy don't go down? What then? What do I do? So Joshua's not going to say, I'm going to knock you out. Joshua's going to be like, we'll see. So personally, from what I'm seeing here, I don't know. I can't say for sure. I think Joshua's game plan in this fight is going to be to outbox Ngannou and stay on the outside, get the win by whatever means necessary. I don't think Joshua is going to try and swing it out with this guy now. Like, if there's an opportunity for it to happen, don't get me wrong, Joshua may capitalize on it, but Joshua's not going to go into this fight and fight Francis Ngannou. I don't see it happening. If he goes into this fight and he just sticks it on Francis and he just starts swinging from the get-go, I'll be surprised. But I'm not saying he can't knock Francis Ngannou out, don't get me wrong, he could, but it's gonna be a good fight. That's what I'm saying. And yeah, the way Joshua just said, like, who's knocked me out like this? No one's knocked Joshua out, and he's right. And Francis Ngannou is just coming at him with a nimble mindset. Like, I'm not underestimating you. I'm just saying the thing's called knockout chaos. If the opportunity for the knockout's there, let's take it. We'll take that knockout. We'll both take it. And Joshua kind of hesitated. He was like, yeah, no, but yeah, then he goes, yeah, 100%. But in there, somebody is like, nah, because Joshua has broken Francis Ngannou down in a way to say, you know what, I might not be able to knock him out. I might have to out-jab his nut off and break him down. So I'm ready for 10 rounds. I'm ready to go the distance, which he says again later on.
Is it a knockout or bust for you?
The knockout, it just comes naturally.
Do you expect to knock out Ngannou?
I don't know. But it's going to be a good fight.
So Joshua took a bit of time when he was asked, do you expect to knock out Ngannou? Now again, you can go back, watch a lot of Joshua's gloves are off. gloves are off, he would say yes. He would be sure of himself. For me, this doesn't mean, Joshua's mentally not there, he can't do anything to Ngannou. Joshua's just honest. Joshua's honest with himself. Like, if he doesn't know he can knock you out, then maybe that's not his plan. Like, look, if you look at heavyweight boxing, okay, we would like knockouts, but look at the older fighters. Look at Floyd Mayweather. When he was coming up, he was knocking people out. But as he got into his later end of his career, he changed his style. He wasn't about the knockouts anymore. He's more about the technicality now, technical side. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Joshua's the best technical boxer. He isn't. Usyk would do him. Fury would do him. If it's about technicality, if it's about being a technical boxer, don't try to box these people. Use your strength. Now, in this fight, Joshua's strength is not his power and not his point. Personally, I don't believe in this fight Joshua should come at him like a truck, because if he comes at Francis like a truck, he's going to get met head on with another truck. And when two trucks collide, an explosion happens, something's going to go wrong, someone's going down. That's a 50-50 game. And if he wants to do that, he can do that. But I would put my money on Francis if that happened. The best shot you got here with Joshua is stay on the outside, use your boxing skills, and piece Francis up. So he's not going to say my intention is to knock him out, because he might know in the back of his head, I might not knock this guy out. This guy's made out of something else. So Joshua's just being honest, but let's see what else he's saying.
It's not even the strength that I carry, it's the brain. I'll process what I need to process, I'll do what I need to do. And yeah, I just do my best in it. We'll see what happens, no? You never know.
What's happened. I mean, as you said, knockout come naturally.
So just before I continue the video, he just said he'll use his brain. And as I said, Joshua is an analytical guy. He likes to use his brain. Now, I do like what he does. I do like he studies the sweet science of the sport. He's trying to be a methodical fighter. He's trying to be like the greats, but Joshua has to use his strengths. Joshua's strengths is being big and posing his will on people. Yes, you have to put yourself in the firing line. You might have to take a few shots, but you know, psychologically, if you're scared, it's not even scared. It's not about being scared. If psychologically you've got an issue in your head that doesn't allow you to go in that pocket, you might be able to take these shots, but because your mental side's, there's something not right there, you won't want to do it. And that will affect your fighting ability. Now, if somehow you can overcome that, you can get back into that old version of you and you can start killing people again. But just be a bit more methodical with it. That's where I feel Joshua's at. And I'm not saying I don't like his answer here. He literally asked Francis Ngannou for reassurance about knockout, like, let's see what happens kind of thing. So he's looking for an answer from Francis.
But I'm ready to go. If it has to, you know what's better for me? I'm ready for 10 rounds. 10 rounds or 12 rounds?
10.
10 rounds, yeah.
Why
I'm ready.
Is it 10? Why is it 10 and not 12?
Oh, no, they tell me 12. I say, no, cut it out. No. 10. I'm not.
No problem.
Again, I'm not taking my Tyson fight as a reference, like, oh, I'm a pro boxer now. I'm building up, right? I just came into it. I will know after 10 rounds, then 12 rounds, I say 10. Let's just...
So again, they're talking about the rounds here, and Joshua literally just said to him, look, I'm ready for 10 rounds. Forget the knockout, forget this, I'm ready for 10 rounds. That shows me straight that his mindset's not about the knockout. They've both said knockouts, they come naturally. You don't try to get the knockout. If it happens, it happens. If you see the opportunity, you take it. But Joshua has literally said to him, best mindset for me is I'm doing 10 rounds or 12 rounds. Now, I did notice the fight is 10 rounds, and Francis just gave his reason why it's 10 rounds. He's not going to do 12 rounds. He's honest with himself as well. He's literally said, look, I've just come into the game. I'm trying to build up. I don't want to do 12 rounds. And Joshua's like, that's no problem. We'll do 10 rounds. So Francis doesn't try and kid himself to think, I need to do 12 rounds. These little things that, like other boxers, day-to-day, normal people, they would take that as a weakness. I'm scared to do 12 rounds. Ngannou doesn't give a shit. He just wants to get paid and he wants to put on a good fight, which is the best mindset.
To be harder, because he's a different style, right? I mean, physically the same as you.
Style make fight. You know, if you asked me this question before, I would definitely say Fury fight would have been harder, because Fury is somebody that is hard to figure. He has like an unorthodox side. You don't know what to expect from Fury. It's very weird. AJ is very orthodox, but I get in the fight and then I was there. Then I was able to find something that worked for me, and then what was putting him uncomfortable. So I find my spot in that fight. In the AJ fight, I still have to do that. If the fight would be good for me from the moment that I figured out what.
So what he just said there is in the Fury fight, he he said before he fought Fury, he would have said the Fury fight's harder than AJ. But reason he's saying that is because of the unorthodox that Fury has. The way he fights, the herky jerky movements, it's not like a normal heavyweight, and the guy's huge. He moves around quickly, so it's an awkward fight. So. But what he's saying now is Joshua's more of an orthodox fighter. He fights like Francis Ngannou, you could say. He's more left, right, and he's got power punches. He'll come. Joshua doesn't fight like a herky jerky fighter. He fights like a more of an orthodox boxer. The 1-2s, the jabs, the straight down the middles, the straights, the hooks. That's how Joshua fights. Now, what he's saying though is in that Tyson Fury's fight, he found something where he felt Fury was becoming uncomfortable. That's when he was hitting Fury, and Fury was like, what the fuck is this? Because I think Francis Ngannou's shots were hurting Fury, and obviously they dropped him as well, and obviously he kept his composure. He found something in that fight that made Fury uncomfortable. What he's saying is in this fight with Joshua, he has to find that thing that's going to make Joshua uncomfortable. It's not going to be the same as Fury. He's not going to just go in there and throw that left and he's going to drop Joshua. No, it's going to be different. They could both start swinging it out, and it could be that way. I don't know exactly how he's going to do it, but he's being methodical, and I do like what he's saying here. So yeah.
But definitely, what worked for Fury is definitely not the same thing that's going to work for AJ. So I still have to find that out. Now that I have those information, I have collected those data from Fury. It's a different. I think about it differently. So now. The AJ style is the more complicated one for me because I haven't figured it out in the fight.
I asked AJ.
Notice how AJ's saying after everything Ngannou's saying. Like, let's be straight, they're both African guys. I know AJ's born here, but I'm sure his parents have got a background that go to Africa, and you can tell Ngannou is an African guy now. When you're murmuring over someone and you're saying after what they're saying, I don't know how to explain this. This is more of a cultural thing. Like, I'm from an Asian background, and when you're in a if you know someone who's come from your country, so I'm from an Asian, let's say Indian background, and you have a person who is from your background but they're from the country, they could be speaking in a different language to you, even though you're from here, and you understand what they're saying, so you start reiterating and you start mumming and erming. Because AJ agrees with what Francis Ngannou is saying, that's why he's murmuring back to him, and that's just like a mutual respect. But I do find it fascinating because Joshua wouldn't be doing that to stuff to anyone else. He's only doing it because he understands Francis Ngannou, as in from his background.
I asked AJ if he expects to knock you out. I'm going to ask you the same question. Do you expect to knock out AJ?
Absolutely. But again, as he said, I will not go for like, oh, let's go knock him out, because knockout is natural. The only time in my career that I went for knockout, he didn't work well for me. He went really bad.
Stipe Miocic.
I walked to that fight like, okay, let's go knock this guy out. He ended up in a very bad way for me, right? And then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm just going back to who I am, fight, and then it happened. And then I was knocking people out in 20 seconds, 5 seconds, without looking for knockout. So I don't look for knockout, I look for fight. And then if I collect the information at some point and have an opportunity, I take that opportunity, and then we'll probably end up in a knockout.
From my take here, Joshua's looked at what Francis Ngannou just said to him, and Joshua's understood what he said to him to the T. Joshua knows what Francis means by when he says, I don't look for the knockout.
You guys tell each other. I'm going to start with you as the challenger here to the former unified heavyweight champion. Tell AJ how this fight plays out.
For me? Well, when I look at this fight, you know, I'm not a fool. I know that AJ is great at his game. I respect that. If I wasn't in the fight, I would have been betting on AJ. But as I'm in the fight, I'm betting on me, and I would take everything that I have in my stomach to come after AJ and do everything that's possible to take him down. And if needed to knock him out, that's how I'm going to come after him. You know, like, just as a sportsman, but still want to, like, knock him out. Like, I'm gonna do that, you know, for my own legacy, for my own record, for it. So that's how I view the fight.
AJ, you've heard this before from so many guys.
So what Francis Ngannou just said to AJ, and the way he's smiling at him, that's just Francis Ngannou being Francis Ngannou. He's being his authentic self 100%. He literally told AJ to his face, in the best way you can possibly tell him, that he's going to come after AJ with everything he's got in his stomach. Now, the words he used here, again, I do look at psychology, I do look at philosophy, I do look at body language. Francis Ngannou is not lying. Francis Ngannou has literally said to AJ, I'm going to come at you with everything I have in my stomach. Like, the way he said it reminded me of an innocent kid. A kid who lives in an innocent life. He said it in an innocent way, but at the same time, you can almost feel Ngannou is not lying. He will bring it to AJ. Now, I do think AJ's understood that Ngannou, this guy's not a joke. He's literally said he's gonna stick it on me in the nicest way, in the most best way he could possibly say it to him. And Joshua knows that now. Joshua does know he's gonna bring everything. So Joshua has to be on his A game.
Guys sitting in the opposite table.
And the way he's smiling at him just makes me, I'm not saying laugh, but as I said, it reminds me of a big friendly giant. There's a movie called The Green Mile. Francis Ngannou is showing me signs of that guy in the film Green Mile. That guy is an animal. That guy was a gentle giant. But you know, if things went south in that room and he has to even stand up or just do one thing, people are going to notice. If he wants to kill everyone in the room, he could kill them. But other than that, he's going to be the nicest guy. People like that are dangerous.
Sitting in the opposite table. Tell Ngannou how this fight plays out.
Good fight. Styles make fights. He's a good switcher. I do the basics very well.
Very well.
I can counter punch. I can move forward. I can move back. I'll do whatever it takes. I will be victorious. I have my own legacy, my own chapter, my own destiny that's destined by God. Everything is designed for me to come and be victorious and move forward in my life and move forward in my career. I'm looking forward to the challenge because it gives me opportunity to learn so much about myself. As much as it is about Ngannou, is as much as it's about me. The challenge that I have in front of me only makes me learn about myself. He's not the challenge, I'm the challenge. How far can I go? And I'll do whatever it takes to get past whatever's in front of me. May the best man win.
Well done, guys.
May the best win.
For what AJ just said there as well, I liked what AJ said. AJ turned the whole thing back into a philosophical, psychological warfare again. So this is the art of war, let's be honest. AJ literally said to him, you're not the challenge, I'm the challenge. So all the philosophy I talked about previously, how Ngannou is saying having the belt doesn't matter, this, that. AJ is not an idiot. AJ does work on that side as well. AJ's literally just told Ngannou as well, look, you're not the challenge here. I don't need to worry about you. I need to worry about me. I need to make sure I'm better than me. I'm the challenge. Joshua's done that internal work. As I said, this dark room theory stuff. Look into the dark room theory. Look into that stuff because, look, I'm not saying if you're suffering with any mental health issues or even any psychological issues, okay, even if you're not suffering with them, everyone day to day might want to make their mindset stronger. They may want to be better mentally. Look into what the dark room retreat is about. You learn a lot about yourself in the dark room. It's not about other people. When you are comfortable with who you are within yourself, you know what you want in this life, you're unstoppable. When you are in a fight and you know who you are and you know what you can do, you can achieve anything. I can't remember the quote, but there's a quote out there that says something like, you are what you believe, and it's 100% true. If you're gonna believe that you're not what you think you are, you're not gonna get what you think. But you know, if you believe you are what you are, and you believe it, and you put the actions in to become it, you can achieve anything. So mentality and psychological, the psychological side, I personally think is the most important aspect of fighting. A lot of people don't talk about this stuff. They just talk about the jab, the hook, the left. No. You gotta look at the psychology of a fighter. Now, I do like what AJ just told Ngannou. Like, he tried to copy Ngannou's sort of speech where he goes, "I'll come with everything." Like, at the start, he did say a lot of stuff, but I do like the end part of what he said. He used his own philosophy. He used on how he's living his own life. Ngannou is not the challenge for AJ. AJ is his own challenge. I personally think AJ's been doing that since the last 2-3 fights as it is. He's been working on that side. Ngannou's coming at him at a different angle as well. He's coming at the side where I just want to make sure I have a good fight. I'm focused on the fight. I don't care about winning, losing, or the belts. The knockout comes naturally. This here shows two fighters that have got a good mindset going into a fight. Usually when two fighters have a good mindset, you get a great fight. I can give you a good example of this. I think the Fury and Deontay Wilder first fight, if you watch the gloves are off that fight, Fury said to Wilder, "I'm a person from God, you can't beat me, you can't win. You just put this fake persona on." And Fury started to get into Wilder's head mentally, but Wilder was a bit more Wilder at that time. He wasn't on the ayahuasca journey. He wasn't where he is now. So he fought back and he started screaming at some point in that fight, "There's only one Deontay Wilder," because Fury started to mentally taper with Wilder, but Wilder wasn't that mentally gone. He fought back mentally. But what I'm trying to say is, he eventually lost the fight. Don't get me wrong, he lost all 3 fights because Fury broke him mentally. What I'm seeing in this fight is there's 2 guys. They both seem like they're mentally on their game. Now that should make for a good fight, unless both guys stay back and they're just too being wary, which I doubt will happen. So yeah, I'm not giving a fight prediction on what's going to happen in this and what I think is going to happen in this fight. I can make another video on that, but I'm just giving an analysis on what I saw in this video. I'm not sure how many people are going to view this because this is just on a new channel I made. But yeah, I will make another one on my prediction and stuff. And yeah, man, I'm into combat sports, so I'm just going to be posting. Yeah, man. So I'll catch you in the next one. Safe. Catch you in the next one. Peace.
Should be